Allah is my heart's speech. Your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance, and in your deen allow me to advance. Help me in my quest. Permit me to pass the ultimate test. Help me in my quest. Permit me to pass the ultimate test.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to our edition of Ask Huda, coming to you live from the studio on Huda TV. First of all, I'd like to give our salam, a warm salam to our Sheikh Mohamed Salah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you. Happy Eid to you, to your family, and to the Ummah at large. And it is always good to be back in the studio.
And of course, a very warm welcome, and Allah accept your Hajj. Ameen. You have just returned from Hajj.
Alhamdulillah.
And we also had you straight live, in fact, from Mina, which was obviously
Alhamdulillah.
Awesome to have you there.
Yes.
Sheikh, what positives have you taken this year from Hajj?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah. Wa salatu wa salamu ala nabiyyihi wa Mustafa. Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man walah wa ba'd. As I said in the beginning, it is always great to be with you and our beloved viewers. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you all and accept from us and happy Eid to all of you.
Ameen.
And may the next Eid bring unity and integrity and strength to the Ummah and victory, obviously, inshaAllah Azza Jal. Hajj this year was great, alhamdulillah wa shukrullah. There were a lot of positives. And it is very important to recognize that we should not conceal the negatives. Rather, we should try to point them out in order to correct them. I believe among the greatest positives that I really paid a lot of attention to is every time I saw one of the brothers and sisters, particularly from the Indo-Pak or the Bengali background, making dua, they really utilize their time in the best fashion, whether in the prophetic masjid, in Al-Rawdah, or in the Haram. Every time I look around me, I find one of them is making dua, and perhaps others are saying Ameen, or they're praying individually. And I always hear the weeping and the cry. I see them shedding tears. They're disregarding anybody around them. They're just living the moment. I have learned a lot from them. Yes, we teach others, but I also learn from them, even from ordinary and subordinary people. Those people I envy a lot, because I could feel and sense the sincerity of their dua and the sincerity of their effort in making this trip the best trip in their lifetime, because indeed it is. So that inspired us to focus more on dua. And as we discussed in the Hajj program before, that Hajj is all about the remembrance of Allah and celebrating the praise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Since the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, as-sa'i, making sa'i between Safa and Marwa, tawaf around the Kaaba, throwing the stones, were only prescribed for the sole reason of celebrating the praise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because there are adhkar and invocations and supplications to be recited in every footstep. So, alhamdulillah, shukrullah, those brothers were very keen, brothers and sisters from this part of the world, were very keen to utilize their time in making dua. With regards to making dua, the negative thing which we kept emphasizing that we should, and we hope to see eliminated, is when somebody is making dua out loud and disturbing others, and there is a group or a party who is repeating after him, not knowing the meaning of what he says. We'll continue after this phone call, inshallah.
We have a phone call now. Sister Saba from Canada. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to the show.
Wa alaikum assalam, brother, and assalamu alaikum to you, Sheikh. And may Allah accept your Hajj.
Ameen. Ameen.
Ameen.
Okay, brother, I have a very important question, and I'm asking this on behalf of a family member of mine. Recently, one of my relatives, she got married, and what happened is the groom's family, basically they tried to like cheat the girl by saying that the man was not able to fulfill his marital relations, and they thought that the girl would never know, and they would just continue this way, and even if they didn't have any children, nobody would know. But the girl found out within 1 month of less than a month of the marriage, that the man could not lead a marital life at all. So she decided that she did not want to live with this man, and she wanted a khula. Now I have two questions. First, some sheikh in India told them that since she's taking a khula by herself, and so she has to only do 1 month iddat. Can you please advise what should this girl do and her family should do in these circumstances, please?
Okay,
Jazakallah khair.
Wajazakum. Okay, with regards to a man who is impotent or not capable to fulfill his marital duties in marital relationship, if the person knew in advance that he is not capable, then it is haram and prohibited for him to approach a girl in marriage, because the woman too has also rights, and amongst her rights is to satisfy her marital relationship. This is one of the main reasons as why people get married, in order to have it in a legitimate fashion, not in an illicit relationship. So if the man who knew and did not inform the girl in advance, in this case he is committing a sin, and he's confiscating her right. So if she figures out and take the case to the judge, it doesn't have to be khula, rather there will be fasakh. In the case of fasakh, that will guarantee her rights. She will maintain the entire dowry and all the gifts and other commitments that he committed himself, such as the penalties or the deferred dowries. All of that she will get. But in the case of the khula, normally the khula means that the wife who's seeking divorce would give up on her entire rights, whatever she collected in advance, or the deferred dowry, and also the gifts, etc. But she has a case. If this case is taken to an Islamic court, we do the following. Some of the scholars said we have to allow that person a year in order to see, because sometimes that is affected by the different seasons, fall, summer, winter, spring. But if this person is medically proven that he is incompetent and he is not able to fulfill such relationship, then we don't have to wait. Waiting, as the scholars suggested in the past, our predecessors, because they don't have an access to do that. They thought it is psychological. He may need some time. And as a matter of fact, there are some people who would take a few months before they adopt, before they are able to fulfill such a relationship. But if this is a medical condition with which the person cannot fulfill this relationship, then it is her right to take it to the court, where she will get a separation. Al-Fasakh, as some of the scholars say, would give her the iddah 1 month only, which is one period, in order to verify that she is not pregnant. The purpose of the iddah is to secure that she is not pregnant, because if she's pregnant, that's another issue. Then she will be resumed in marriage again. It's a different story. In addition to, if she's pregnant, then her case is void, because that means he is capable to fulfill this relationship. So if there is a fasakh, the iddah will be only 1 month. That is versus then divorce, which is the iddah 3 months if there is no period, or 3 periods or 3 menstruation cycles.
Okay.
Wallahu a'lam.
Jazakallah khair, Sheikh. We have now with us, all the way from Saudi Arabia, Abdul Rauf. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
You're live on Huda. Go ahead.
Great to see you back, Dr. Salah. May Allah accept your Hajj and accept all the supplications which you made for the Muslim Ummah at large, and for yourself, for your family. May Allah accept all those supplications.
Ameen. Thank you so much.
My question is, if a person has to travel to Makkah for his official work, does he necessarily need to go for Umrah, or he can just make tawaf and just come back?
Okay. No, if he is not planning to perform Umrah or Hajj, he is going back and forth to fulfill a job requirement. He is not required to do Umrah nor assume an intention of ihram from the miqat. Assuming the intention of ihram from the proper miqat before entering into Mecca is only required if you're planning to perform Umrah or Hajj, either one of the nusuk. And obviously when you enter for a job and you fulfill your duty and you have time to perform tawaf, you're most welcome to do tawaf at any say time. The Prophet ﷺ said, do not stop anyone from performing tawaf at any time of the day or the night. And a tawaf has a word similar to as-salah, because at-tawaf, as-salah, and as-salah are alike.
SubhanAllah. Jazakallah khair, Sheikh. I'm just going to remind you of our number. Call live to Huda 0020 238 555 248 or 249, and you can also email us at ask@huda.tv. Sheikh, we have a question here from Khair from Nigeria. She wants to know if it's okay for the wife to ask the husband to take a second wife. She'd like to say that her husband seems to be doing some inappropriate things, and that also they don't live together. She believes now that the wife, that the second wife will help her marriage.
Well, if she believes so, of course it is permissible, and that will be really appreciated. She's a woman who is keen to make sure that her husband is on the straight path. And if such solution would solve the problem, why not? Not too many people would really have the guts to do that. Not too many wives would have the guts to do that. But if she knows that her husband is astray because of this, especially if they are not, as I understood from the question, they do not really have the marital relationship. So if he is trying to fulfill it in an illicit fashion, if the wife suggests or she permits the husband to do that, that would be really appreciated. Yet, I want to say if sometimes some newly religiously committed people, they think it is one of the religious commitment principles that the wife should beseech or look for another wife, a co-wife for her husband, which is not true. And if a couple are living a happy life, it is not required to take a second wife, because you don't really understand how it is unless you are in it. And you may not feel it unless he's already married, and you feel the jealousy and some problems would arise, and you ask him to divorce her or to divorce you. So in order to avoid that, if it is not needed, if it is not really urgent, then call it off. Do not even talk about it. But this case where the sister has mentioned, that's a legitimate case, and she does so, may Allah bless her.
Jazakallah khair. Sister Wafa from Egypt. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back, Sheikh, and may Allah accept from you your Hajj, your dua, and from all the pilgrims.
Ameen. Shukran. Jazakumullahu khair.
It was really great to watch the live broadcasting from Mina.
Alhamdulillah, shukran. Jazakumullahu khairan. Barakallahu fiik.
I have two questions. Sheikh, always in Hajj, the woman is always under the control of her mahram. One of the sisters was performing Hajj, and her husband, because he was afraid of crowd and the rush of the people, he insisted to leave Muzdalifah after the midnight. They didn't spend the night there. Is there any blame on the sister in this case?
Okay.
The second one, what's your advice to all the Muslims, those who perform Hajj and those who don't? How can we maintain this high spiritual status for the maximum possible period of time?
Okay, great. Thank you, Sister Wafa, for calling in. And if you allow me, I would like to answer after we take this phone call, inshallah. Go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Sister Sarah from Malaysia. Assalamu alaikum
wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, brother.
Welcome to Huda.
Thank you. Welcome home, Brother Salah. This is Sister Zahra. I have a question on behalf of a friend who is asking if, because her mother wants to wants to give zakah towards the purchase of land to build an orphanage. and she was told that she cannot do that.
Okay.
So she asked if this is so.
Okay.
Money to purchase land to build an orphanage was not accepted from her.
Okay.
So please explain. Jazakallah khairan, brother. Welcome back.
Thank you so much.
Assalamu
Jazakallah.
alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Go back to Sister Wafa's first question. I really want to rephrase the first question when she said that it is known that the woman is under the control of her mahram. I want to object to the word under control, because she is not under control. Rather, it would be best to say she is in the protection of her mahram. And I would like to shed some light on that. We have seen many sisters who are coming from abroad, from America for instance, to perform Hajj. They have suffered a lot because they did not have the male mahram. They recognize how painful it is and how bad it is to go anywhere, even if you're going for Hajj, where everybody is your brothers and sisters. But without a male mahram, she's lost. Even though she's going in a big group and she has a tour guide and she has a sheikh and all of that. You need this protection in Tawaf, you need it in Sa'i, you need it in Muzdalifah, you need it in the bus, you need it in the plane, you need it everywhere. And this is a situation where the woman would miss her mahram, whether the mahram or the guardian is the father or the husband or the brother, the most. It is definitely needed. And one of the negatives which I see in Hajj, where some sisters cut corner because they live in the West. So it's easy to fake some paperwork and say, yes, he's my brother, while he is not, in order to perform Hajj, because the law does not allow a woman who's under 45 to get a visa unless she's traveling to Saudi with a mahram. So they have their ways. They just can put anybody's name next to her and say, that's her brother. Number one, that's a lie. And may Allah forgive us all if we've committed any of these violations. Number two, it is not about cutting corners or skipping rules or twisting commands. It is about, this is the divine command and it is for your protection. So I would like to change the word control into protection. She is definitely in the protection of her husband. As far as what the husband did when he insisted on leaving Muzdalifah past midnight, after spending most of the night past midnight, or once the moon disappears, as Zainab used to do, the Prophet ﷺ allowed women, children, and elders, and those who have some disabilities, he gave them the concession to leave past midnight. And Sauda bint Zam'a, may Allah be pleased with her, one of the Prophet's wives, have left, and others. Aisha did not, and she said, I wish I would have taken that concession and left. Why? Because they can beat the traffic, they can go to Mina, throw the stones past midnight, and they can also do tawaf, all of that before Fajr. So that gives him an ease. So the brother did not do any wrong because his wife is eligible. She's entitled to take that concession. There is no violation on them. And as long as he was complying with the Sharia rules, then the wife should not feel sad. There is no blame on neither one of them.
Okay, so we have a call from Hala from Egypt. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you, Sheikh and brother?
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. My husband passed away about 2 weeks.
Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. May Allah have mercy on him and may Allah give you patience. May Allah admit him to his paradise and make his grave a garden of heaven. Ameen.
He loved you for Allah's sake, Sheikh. His name was Sheikh Abdul Malik. He was an imam in a masjid in Bermuda, but he died here in Egypt. He wanted to bury in a Muslim country, and he loved you for God's sake. So, and I just wanted to ask you, Sheikh, we have no children, and currently I have to leave this house my husband was renting, and the contract is already finished, but I was asking about my iddah. Can I do my iddah at my parents' house according to these circumstances, or I have to stay at my husband's house during my iddah?
Where is your parents' house?
Here in Egypt.
Oh, okay.
Yes. And I have no children, and it's hard for my mom and my brother and sister to come stay with me. And also, according to the circumstances, I don't know if I'm going to afford to stay in this house, paying the rent till my iddah finished or not.
Okay.
Okay, Jazakallah
Jazakallah
khair.
khair. Thank you
Once
very much,
again, Sister Hara, sorry to hear that, and may Allah have mercy on him. Ameen. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered women who are widowed to remain during the iddah, which is 4 months and 10 days, in the house where the husband passed away. Unless if there is some circumstances that necessitate that she has to leave the house, if she is living all alone without any protection, and she was a visitor in that country, for instance. So another male mahram can take her to her house, or in that condition where he said it's not your house and the contract is over and you have to leave the house, you don't afford the rent or you cannot afford the rent. So basically the circumstances invite you to take the concession of going to your parents' house, where you also resume the iddah there. So you do not leave the house unless it is necessary. You do not go out, you do not go to picnics and parties and all of that and celebrate things, because the iddah that the Prophet ﷺ did not allow anyone to mourn the death of anyone more than 3 days, except for the wife to mourn the death of her husband 4 months and 10 days, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded in the Quran. So the answer would be valid if you think that your condition would not allow you to stay in the same house. And once again, may Allah have mercy on him and give you patience.
Jazakallah khair, Sheikh. Sheikh, we have a question here from Shafiq from Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. He has a relative that's working in Canada, and he's also working there as well as a financial analyst, and he's worried there might be some riba in his relative's income. What should he do?
With regards to dining, eating in their place, or dealing with them?
He hasn't specified the exact thing, but I think
because I'm not responsible for others' actions. If I have even a brother or a sister who does some wrong in their earning, and I enjoin them to the right, and I forbid them from the evil, and they insist, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلَا تَزِرُ وَازِرَةٌ وِزْرَ أُخْرَى. There is no bearer of a sin that bears the sin of another. Okay? But if he's asking about dealing with them, yes, you deal with them on the basis of kindness and gentleness. And if you're invited, if their wealth is mixed, is not 100% haram, so you may eat and drink in their places and houses with the intention of giving them da'wah every time you visit them. If you assume that not eating or drinking at their place would give them a message that this is haram, and that would be much more effective than the opposite, then follow whatever your guess would tell you. Many times in the States, when some brothers were owning and running convenience stores where they sell liquor, beer and pork, so whenever I'm invited, if I refuse to take anything, they will get it, and they will realize that the Sheikh doesn't want to eat at our house. What a shame. Why? Because this is haram. But you don't do that with everybody. You have to have this kind of wisdom where if this person is responsive, if this person have 50-50, so that might really make that other 50% of good outweigh the other 50% of the bad in him. But if somebody is living in the dark and he's offering you something and you turn him off, he might really get turned off. So a da'wah requires hikmah, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran, ادعو إلى سبيل ربك بالحكمة والموعظة الحسنة وجادلهم بالتي أحسن.
Brother Ithmas from Saudi Arabia. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Aj Mabrur, Sheikh.
Thank you. Jazakallahu khairan. Ismat?
Yes.
Okay.
Alhamdulillah, I also made Hajj this year.
Congratulations.
But my question is, the Sheikh went with one Amla. One Sheikh saying, okay, you can stay, whether if you don't have a Khaima in Mina, you can stay in Azizia, you can just walk through to Mina and come back after midnight.
Yeah.
One Sheikh say, there is no space, no need to go. I was just confused. First day I tried to reach Mina, but I couldn't make because of the rush. Second day I went early. Inshallah, by the grace of Allah, I found the place. I just want to clarification whether if it is okay to live in Azizia, whether we couldn't get a chance to get a Khaima in Mina.
Okay.
This is my question.
As I was flying back today on the plane, obviously I got some questions even from passengers next to me and so on. I got the same question that some people, you say that you're going with Hamla, you're going with a caravan or with a group who are licensed to organize Hajj. If they're licensed and permitted to organize Hajj, that means they occupy a place in Mina. They must have a tent. One of the disasters and negatives that we witness in Hajj, the people are spreading everywhere in the streets, obstructing the path of those who are performing Rami, and making it hard for buses and vehicles to go back and forth to pick up pilgrims. We do not realize that it is not all about myself. When the government or those who are in charge for operating Hajj set rules, they say, if you want to perform Hajj, you got to get a permit. Why? Because you get a permit, that means you have a place to stay in Mina, you have a place to stay in Arafat. These are the most important two places. In Muzdalifah, it is open. Everybody living in the street, spending the night in desert, sleeping on dirt, your cover is heaven with countless stars. But in Mina, we've got 3 days at least to stay in Mina, in addition to the 8th of Yawm al-Tarwiyah, the 8th of Dhul Hijjah, where many people skip. They think because it's Sunnah, I will skip it. But we have 3 days which you must spend in Mina, the 8th day, and at least 2 more days, the 11th and the 12th. Where do you stay? People are living and sleeping, eating, drinking, answering the call of nature right in the street. That is wrong. So when you go with a Hamla, with a group or an agency that is organizing Hajj and permitted, that means they have a place designated and appointed for them by the Hajj ministry in Mina. So what they do if they're doing it illegal, they come right in the middle of Hajj and say to the pilgrims, since we don't have a place in Mina, in order to save some money, they say, well, there is a fatwa says if you don't have a place in Mina, you stay in Aziziyah. Aziziyah is not a part of Mina. Look, the fatwa said since Mina or the pilgrims are outgrowing Mina area, they stretched the outskirts of Mina. It covers even a great part of Muzdalifah. So if you end up staying in those designated areas, there is no blame on you. Obviously, the Hajj camp for Americans and Canadians and North Americans is in Muzdalifah, not actually in Mina, but it is designated by the Hajj ministry for them. So it is legitimate for them to stay there. But for you to just listen to anybody and say, well, I did not find a place to stay in Mina, then do the minimum requirement, which is to spend at least most of the night in Mina. Most of the night, if the night is 12 hours, then at least 6.5 hours. If you spend that time in Mina, then you can go back to Aziziyah and you come in the morning to throw the stones. In the past, there was a disaster and stampede during throwing the stones because lack of organization. People are going forward and others are coming backward, and they meet each other, they cause a chaos. Now, alhamdulillah, shukla, it is very much organized, and there is plenty of space. The scholars allowed to have several stories for the Jamarat. It's not just one pole, it's now a huge wall. You can go the ground floor, the first level, second level, third level, huge bridges, escalators and elevators, a lot of facilities. So why do people think that Rami, throwing the stones, is at your convenience? Whenever you want. They throw 2 days at once. 11:45 p.m. of the Eid day, they throw the stones for the next morning. Then 12 or past 12, they come back to throw the stones for the next day. Why is that? There is a difference between concessions in order to give ease for the worshippers and between just making up things. Okay? And making Hajj void from the spirit of Hajj, which is doing the manasik on the right time. So those who committed themselves to do the manasik on the right time did not have any problem. Every day, if we wanted to throw the stones after Zawal, after noon, we did not have the least problem. Why? there is plenty of space, there is plenty of room. So I would like to remind the pilgrims who are going for Hajj inshaAllah next year, please make sure to study Hajj and learn about what you need to do before you go. Because when you get there, some mutawifs who are not religiously committed, they're business people. Some travel agencies, they do not really care about whether you perform Hajj proper or not. Bottom line is that we've taken you for Hajj and we made some money out of you. So people are stuck there. They keep calling, Sheikh, what to do, what to do. Before you sign up with any company, you say, are we going to Mina on the 8th day or not? Get a commitment for them. Are we spending the night in Muzdalifah or not? Are we staying in Mina during Ayyam al-Tashriq or not? What is the schedule? It is not sufficient just to go with the flow. People end up paying a lot of fidya, a lot of ransoms and sheep in order to make up for mistakes. They were not liable for them. They were not responsible for them. The organizer deceived them. You can also file a complaint to the Hajj ministry, where definitely the organizers will be blacklisted and they would not be able to organize Hajj nor Umrah next year. We need to study the Hajj properly before performing this lifetime journey.
Some very important advice to the Hajjaj from Sheikh Mohammed. Fatima from Kuwait, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to the show.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Hajj Mabruk, Dr. Saleh.
Thank you so much. Jazakumullah khair.
I have two questions. One is it's about my husband. He cheated on me.
Okay.
And I forgive him for he cheated on me. But after like 8 months, he did it again.
What did he do?
He cheated on me again in the same way. He promised me that he will not do it anything, and he started talking behind me. So I couldn't take it anymore. So now from 4 months, we don't have any relationship with him.
You know, the word cheating is very flexible and broad. Can you specify?
That means he betrayed me. You know, he was sleeping with some other woman.
Okay.
But
and your second question, Fatima?
Sorry? Oh, second question is I bought a puppy for my daughter, and she is very interested in the dog, so we got her a puppy, and she wants to play. Now, I don't know the procedures for how, once she touches a dog, what she should do and how she should do the wudu and all this stuff. If you can explain to me, please.
Do you have children from him, sister?
Yes, I have 3 children.
How old are they?
One is 16 and 12 and 8.
Okay, shukran. Jazakumullah khair. We'll answer you after the break, inshallah.
We're going to take a break. Stay with us. We'll see you then.
Inshallah, on the straight path, we would like to discuss the niqab from an Islamic and social political perspective.
So sometimes some non-Muslims, they might not understand the full Islamic pictures. Anyone can say anything about it.
Yes.
So when can we, who speaks for Islam? This is the biggest question. Who speaks for Islam? No, they are not sinning. They are not sinning, but we are talking about now the general ruling. They are not sinning, but they are going against what has been established. It is his own ijtihad at a specific time.
People would see it as a threat.
Exactly.
How do we explain to them it's not really a threat? It's actually good for the country as well. But if we don't participate, how would we ever reach to our rights? Can you clarify with us what should be the level of political participation of the Muslims in the West?
Yeah.
Back to the Prophet. Join Sheikh Ahmad in the program Back to the Prophet, wherein he teaches us practical lessons from the Prophet's life and how this can help us to overcome our challenges in the present.
We talk about the life example of the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, seeking guidance for ourselves.
Maintain family ties. Gentleness in Islam means to treat people with kindness and with tenderness.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to Ask Huda. Just a quick reminder of the number you can call us on here in the studio, 002 0238 555 248 or 249. You can also email us at ask@huda.tv. Sheikh Mohammed, we had a question from Fatima from Kuwait. She wanted some advice on her husband, who it appears unfortunately has cheated on her with another woman, and now she's in the process of separation. She's been separated for about 4 months. What's your advice to her?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salamu ala nabiyhi wa mustafah wa ba'd. It is definitely sad to hear that, especially when I asked her and she said she have 3 children, ages 15 and this person, I hope he's listening to us right now. During those blessed days, I encourage him to repent unto Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and think about the future of his children, especially when it is engraved in their memories that their father separated from their mother because he cheats. It can leave a very bad taste, and it will remain for so long. So he should not be selfish. He should think about that if his wife is not satisfying him and he's in need to take a second wife, definitely it will be lawful for him to take a second wife. But it is not lawful for him under any circumstances not to cheat, not to date, not to go out with a woman who is not lawful for him. Even being in a separate place, in a single room with a woman who is not lawful for him alone, is prohibited. The Prophet ﷺ said, whenever a man and a woman be alone in one room, they are not alone, because the third is Satan. So I encourage him to think about the future of his children. And now I turn to the sister and said, Jazakillahu khairan, may Allah bless you for pardoning him the first time and the second time, and giving him a respite. Perhaps he can try one more time for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and for the sake of your children. If you have recorded this message, you can just make sure that he would listen to it, because adultery is one of the major sins, and it is a destructive sin, especially if the person was muhsan, has a wife, has children. Its punishment in an Islamic state is so severe that he can pay his life for it, because he has a lawful wife. And as I said, Islam allows him, if he is not very satisfied with his wife, to take a second one instead of having an illicit relationship. But sister, if you realize that he's consistent on committing such evil sin, it is absolutely your right to ask for a divorce, and you will be granted so. But after you exhaust all the means of solving this in a peaceful and a wise way. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help you out to reconcile with your husband, and may Allah guide him. Ameen.
Brother Suhail from Saudi Arabia. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi
wa barakatuh.
Go ahead, brother.
Actually, I have one question.
Okay.
If we buy a house in India and we pay for it in installment basis as the construction progresses.
Yeah.
So how should we calculate zakah for this property?
Okay. You don't owe any zakah on the property. You said you're buying a house. So if it is a house to live in, or you live in,
Yeah.
or for your family to live in.
Actually, it's an investment.
Okay, so you bought it in order to resell it. That's your sole. That's your sole purpose, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll answer you, inshallah.
Okay, Jazakallah khair, Brother Suhail. We also have Mohammed from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi. Welcome to the show.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum salam.
Eid Mubarak to all of you.
Thank you so much. Very sweet from you. And Eid Mubarak to you and to your family, to Muhammad. How old are you?
10 years old.
MashaAllah, la quwwata illa billah.
Okay. I have two questions for you, Sheikh Salah.
Okay.
The first question, what is the difference between Laylatul Qadr and the day of Arafat?
Okay.
And the second question, is it obligatory not to cut the nails or your hair if you're going to sacrifice an animal in Eid?
MashaAllah, Muhammad, you know so much. MashaAllah. How many parts of the Quran do you know or memorize by the heart, Ya Muhammad?
Maybe 2 juz Amma and juz Tabarak.
MashaAllah, la quwwata illa billah. Next time you call, I want you to share the good news with me, and he said you have memorized the 3rd juz. قد سمع. Okay?
Inshallah.
I'm gonna wait for a phone call from you in a month or in 6 weeks. You say you memorized the 3rd juz. Okay?
Inshallah.
Jazakallahu khairan. Barakallahu feek.
Just
very
before
lovely.
Sheikh, we have another caller.
Okay.
If we can go to the phone. We have Omar from Egypt. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hello, Sheikh Salah. My question is, how should a Muslim woman be dressed in front of another Muslim woman, 2, Ahlul Kitab, i.e. Christians or Jews,
Yeah.
3, in front of non-Muslims?
Okay.
Jazakumullah khairan.
Okay, wa jazakum. We'll take the questions in order. Muhammad, very lovely boy, and his questions are very wise. The difference between Laylatul Qadr and Yawm Arafah. That's a Layla, night, and that's a day, Yawm Arafah, that's a day. Both of them are the best times of the year. Laylatul Qadr is during the night, from sunset, on a particular night, one of the odd nights of the last 10 nights of Ramadan. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said about it, Salamun hiya hatta matla' al-fajr. It ends up at dawn. While Yawm Arafah begins at dawn and it ends up at sunset. That night and that day, on that night, if any person happens to be worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala during that night, his worship during that night is superior to the worship of 1,000 months consecutive. 1,000 months. That's more than 83 years. It gives you another lifespan. The day of Arafah, النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم said, أحتسب على الله. I believe and I hope that fasting on the day of Arafah for other than the pilgrims, that expiates the sins of the past year and a year to come. While for the pilgrims, that is the greatest day because it is the main pillar of Hajj. Al-Hajj Arafah. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is proud of the pilgrims. He says to His angels on that day, look at my servants. He boasts about them. He said, what did they come for? Bear witness that I have forgiven them all their sins. The pilgrims on that day, at sunset they depart Arafah with all their previous sins have been forgiven. Then this is the difference and the relationship between Laylatul Qadr and Yawm Arafah. And from that we realize that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala scattered seasons of goodness and righteousness. You exit from Ramadan, soon there will be Hajj season and the day of Arafah. Whether you perform in Hajj or stay in home, you have a chance to gain great deal in virtues. We finish that season with the beginning of the new year, the 10th of Muharram, coming soon. Fasting on the day expiates all the sins of the past year, and so forth. There is always goodness that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala distributed all year round.
Second question is, how should a Muslim woman dress in front of Muslims, in front of Christians, and in front of non-Muslims?
The awrah of a woman before another woman, whether this woman is a Muslim woman or a non-Muslim woman, is from the navel to the knees. Because a woman is in need a lot to breastfeed her baby in a gathering of women. So that part of the chest is not awra if she happens to breastfeed her baby. It doesn't mean that they go topless before each other, but it means sometimes it is needed. This part of the awra, which is similar to a awra of a man before another man, applies to a Muslim woman or a non-Muslim woman. Some scholars, I believe Ibn al-Qayyim and others, say, no, a woman before a non-Muslim woman, she should treat her like a man. Why? Because in order to avoid revealing her awra and this body part of her, because she can reveal it to others. And nowadays, with the advanced technology and hidden cameras in pens, in cell phones, in buttons, a Muslim woman have to be very careful, even with the hairdresser, with the beauty salons, and all of that. Even though she's doing that for her husband, she's wearing a full hijab, but she just goes there. You gotta make sure that this is a pious Muslim woman. Or you can invite her home to take care of that for you, because it happens a lot. Hidden cameras in the fitting rooms, hidden cameras in the salons, hidden cameras the hair cutter, and by the end the Muslim woman will find her photo on the YouTube or a video. So you gotta avoid that, and we have to be very careful. Talking about cameras and so on, remind me inshallah next episode, because we ran out of time, to talk about one of the great negatives I have witnessed in Hajj, which is how some people have taken the haram as a big time studio. Everybody is taking pictures, and how is that affecting negatively the other pilgrims.
Jazakallah khair, Shaykh. So good to have you back in the studio with us on Ask Huda. Jazakallah khair. We thank you, the viewers, of course, as well. Thank you very much for joining us for Ask Huda. We will see you again next time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Allah is my heart's speech, your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance, and in your deen allow me to advance. Help me in my quest, permit me to pass the ultimate test. Help me in my quest, permit me to pass the ultimate test.